All right, we're not starting at the beginning mostly because the beginning was just a bunch of background life stories, and they are funny, but not really part and parcel to what the title has anything to do about. And I was really excited to see that good people aren't good people. I mean, I'm kind of a nobody on the internet, but I do have a lot of opinions, so maybe I can add something to the conversation. And maybe I'll just end up agreeing with Tectone, but we'll see. I like the seraphim tattoo that he has in the middle of his chest. It's really nice. It looks really good.
I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's very important to me, for me to talk to you about, as well as for you to kind of really process this and for you to really think about this. And it's the whole
I've thought a
idea
lot
of
about a lot of things.
what is a good person? Who are these good people? And I want to explain to you why what society portrays to you as the good guys, good people, good
Yeah,
people are not good people. That's probably the
true.
name of the YouTube video.
I mean, I guess like at the end of the day, it really depends on how one defines a good person, in the sense that like the actual like act of being a good person. Because a lot of people would generally define that as somebody who acts outwardly in that way, but we kind of define around people who act inwardly good, who do things not because they want to be seen, but because they truly believe that it's good. I know a lot of the problems that we kind of face in society is we reward people who outwardly say that they're good and take steps to selfishly act good to make themselves look better, but in the inside they're not inwardly good. And a lot of the people who are inwardly good, who just kind of like do their own thing, but they truly act in the best interests of other people rather than their own personal interests, we kind of cast aside and we don't recognize them for the good that they do. Mostly because it's hard to know what they're doing because make a they don't make a huge deal about it. It's not important to them, which is paradoxical in its own conceptualization. And it's hard to say, oh, that person's being a good person because we're not trained to see that. I think that might be where he's heading, but I think it's important to bear in mind that we do culturally have a paradoxical view on what it is to be a good person and what it is to reward a good person.
So, what do I mean by that? Good
Yes,
people aren't good people.
true.
Well, I kind of want to talk to you about something that people, I think, in today's day and age are generally very uninformed of, as well as
One thing, just one thing that people are generally uninformed of. I can list like 10 just immediately.
due to a overwhelmingly negative extent, do something that appears good but is actually quite bad.
Yeah, that's people do that all the
And
time.
that is acceptance. Now, why is acceptance bad? Acceptance is bad is when oh man, it's doing that thing again where my right arm looks really big and my left arm looks really small, so it looks like I'm a fucking charger from Left 4 Dead 2, or I'm just a guy with a crazy masturbation addiction, which I am.
True,
Just
brother.
anyways. By the way, boys, if you're jerking off out there, loosen your grip a little bit. Otherwise, you're gonna get erectile dysfunction because when you fucking
No, it must be punished for being on this body. It chose me, and I shall show it its sin.
squeeze your dick as hard as you can, makes it very hard to. You know what? We'll get into that on stream. Anyways, yeah, acceptance, not always a great thing, and the reason why I say that is because people who are seen as you did something nice or wow, this guy is so kind, are people who are accepting of everything.
Yeah.
When in reality,
So, acceptance in the form of being accepting of one person and acceptance in the form of being accepting in every instance are two different things, in my opinion. I think he's probably going to go with the more people who are accepting of just everything and just say that they accept everything. That's not really accepting. That's more like giving people permission to act poorly by not correcting their behaviors or bringing in what they should be having in a personal responsibility measure. And being accepting of an individual is different on its face because you can accept an individual, but in your acceptance of that individual you can still tell them that they're not acting properly. And we have kind of an aversion to telling people that what you're doing isn't right, because that might be harmful. Even if you truly believe it, you're forced to keep your own opinions on what you believe to be like a fact of how somebody's acting to yourself, and you're shamed into thinking that, oh, I'm the bad guy for saying that I don't like X, Y, or Z, or think that X, Y, and Z are improper.
They're just pussies.
True.
Now, the reason why I say that is because we're in a society where portrayed as being
Sorry, chair
oh,
squeak.
I love this, I love that, I'm open to all manners of life, everyone is beautiful to me. And that sounds really good. It's just like communism. Communism sounds great.
Communism is
Wow,
absolutely
everybody
awful.
gets everything the same? This is amazing.
Communism is just legalized theft cranked up to 10, because how are they going to, share everything? They're going to share everything at the point of a gun, because that's the point of government, is to, at point of gun, force you to act in a way that is commiserate with society. And if society is communist, then you own nothing. And if you own nothing, that means it's got to come from somewhere, which is what you have, what you own. And they're at point of gun forcing you to share with everybody.
Amazing. Too bad it won't work because corruption exists in this world as well as what we're going to talk about.
Well, it's got nothing to do with corruption. It's got everything to do with, well, I mean, I guess the people's morals are corrupt, but that's a different conversation, I think. It's got nothing to do with corruption on its face politically, because communism is a system that is just institutionalized selfishness. And if you want to define that as corruption, then I guess sure. But it goes beyond corruption because the system itself inherently is predacious.
About today on being accepting of everything can lead to a very slippery slope as well as
True.
completely obliterate our youth for not knowing when the buck stops. And when to tell your kids, well, little Timmy, in fact, you're not a dinosaur. You're actually not an
True.
Apache attack helicopter, even though you really think that you are.
Yeah, parents definitely have been getting a lot of leeway in the way that they're able to parent taken away, especially in current year, which definitely has had zero impact on the generation coming up, I guarantee you. But I hate to see it, because when you allow somebody to get away with the bad impulses or bad thoughts that they've had without any type of correction or encouraging self-reflection, it just creates people who are complete psychopaths.
Got Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Just fucking hits, bro.
More of a Coke fan.
Anyway, so we have a lot of these content creators, a lot in the LA scene where they're just seen as very.
Well, there's your problem. It's LA.
Fucking phone call. Jesus. Sorry. Hopefully that didn't kill the video.
Nah, you good.
A lot of people in the LA scene are very like, oh, we love everybody. Well, I want to just take
True.
you on a little line of thought, and I kind of want to get your.
They love everybody until you challenge them on anything. Once you challenge them on anything, then they hate you because you're an asshole.
Guys' thoughts on my thoughts, which is okay. So, body positivity movement. Do we all remember that? Yes.
I do.
Oh, being fat.
Regrettably.
Beautiful. You're beautiful the way you are. No, you're
Yeah.
not. If you're fat, you're fucking disgusting. No ifs, ands, or buts. You need to get that shit together because you are killing yourself. And I am not going to sit here and try to pretend that I'm a good person by telling fucking fat fuck, Warren McGee.
Man, he's going hard.
The way they are, that way they can die at 40.
I definitely agree that if you have an overweight problem, then you should definitely go talk to a doctor and figure out how to get that under control. I've always kind of lived my life like I don't like putting anything inside my body that's not like incredibly necessary. I don't like taking pills or anything. I always more or less try to lean on, not homeopathic, that's the wrong word, lean on more like my body's natural ability to heal. Like I won't even take ibuprofen for the most part unless I have like a massively bad migraine. And I think that, when you go to the doctor, you should say, hey, I want to try to get this under control without relying on things like Ozempic. I think you'll find a lot better health gains in that respect. Although, at the end of the day, I'm not going to give you any medical advice because I'm not a doctor. You should definitely consult your doctor and listen to them more than you listen to some random internet stranger.
For example, I have a buddy called Shinya. Very fat, very good person, however. And I have never once told him, hey, Shinya, I love you for who you are. Nope, I haven't. Now, I do love the guy, and I mean that. I fucking love this dude. And when I love someone, I tell them what they need to hear.
Bros.
And I say, hey, bro, you're going to fucking die. You need to get into the gym. You need to change your life, as well as
That is
any of my
exactly what
other
a good
fat
bro
friends.
should
I have
do.
taken them to the gym. I have given them the knowledge that they need to get better rather than saying,
If you
huh,
don't
aren't I
if you don't have a bro that's going to call you a fat asshole, then you don't really have a bro. Because a real bro is going to be like, man, dude, you put on like 50 pounds. You are a fat fuck. You need to go ahead and hit the gym. And if you don't have that, you should seek that. You should seek somebody who's going to challenge you to be the best you that you can be, not just continue to affirm whatever you think you are. That's part of life is growing. And if you're not being encouraged by your, good friends to grow, then what's the point?
so kind by saying, I accept you for who you are? Meanwhile, I'll be reading their obituary in 3 years.
Yep.
Absolutely not am I going to be one of these people. And that doesn't make me bad. That makes me someone who cares.
Well, also, it one thing that's going unsaid here that's a little bit insightful is it's, not just about the fact that, they're living their life how they want to. It's like you don't want them in 3 years, you don't want to be mourning them either. Like, it makes complete sense for you to tell somebody like, "Hey, if you don't want to do this for you, that's fine, but, we're bros, do it for me. I don't want you to be dead because I would miss you and you have to leave me behind by virtue of the fact that you're dying." It's an interesting way to approach the problem too. Maybe, if you're not getting through to somebody, that might be a good way to get through to them because then it kind of like unpersonalizes it in a way.
It's the same thing with parents and their children.
Yep.
You're not a good parent if little Timmy wants a soda, little Timmy wants a Nerd's Rope, little Timmy wants ice cream.
Little Timmy wants his iPad.
If you say, no, Timmy, it's not good for you, they might cry. They might say, wow, that's so mean. I really want it. Well, that
Yeah.
sucks.
That's the one thing that my dad always made sure to
And I'm
do.
going to tell you what's not good for you because you need to know that because maybe you're too stupid to understand that I will be
Yeah.
the bad guy in your life. But me being the bad guy is actually being the guy who's trying to help you the most.
So my dad, I talked about him earlier, but I'll talk about him again here. My dad was the one who raised me. And when I was younger, my mother was the breadwinner. She was the one who worked all the time. And because of that, I kind of have a different perspective than most people when I was growing up because I had a strong masculine role model throughout the entirety of my life that wasn't working. He was always there. And the one thing that he really kind of like hammered home and was able to teach me very well is I think limits to myself, where he was very much he was the villain of when I was younger. Every time it was dad was the villain until I got to about like maybe 15 or 16. And I woke up one day and just realized, like, oh my God, everything that my dad taught me is like true and real. And because he was very, like, harsh is the wrong word because he wasn't harsh, but because he was very steadfast in the way that he presented, making sure that you can't have too much of this, you can't have too much of that. And then also with a little bit of leniency as I was growing up, when I was getting older, to give me a little bit more lead, so to speak. It really taught me, those hard limits. And you don't see that much nowadays. It's really strange to me when I see people of my generation raising kids and they are so permissive. Like, I constantly find myself saying to, some people about other people. I'm kind of keeping this vague because I know some of these people. I keep saying to myself, like, I can't believe that they would let them get away with that, or I can't believe like their children are allowed to do this. Mostly because it's just like when I was younger, if I had acted in a certain type of way, or if I had done a certain type of thing, like I'd have been very punished for it. And I don't see that much anymore nowadays. It's kind of upsetting, not because it's not because I'm, upset for myself. I'm upset for the future generation because they are going to have to learn these harsh lessons in a non-safe environment, and it's going to be very jarring for them.
Whereas you have the other, you're in a fucking divorced marriage and you have the mom that gives you the games, the toys, the
Yep.
candy, the
Buying
make you
one's
do
loyalty,
shit. And congratulations, you're now raising a fat fuck delinquent that has no skills in real life. They have no discipline and they're
who's
gonna fail
been
on all
having
sides.
everything given to
Oh
them their
my
entire
god,
life.
but you seem like the fun parents. Do you understand what I'm getting at right now?
Oh yeah,
Telling people
very clearly.
you're not a good person if you enable people. You're not a good person if you just tell everybody what they need to hear.
True.
Good people are the ones who tell you you need to hear.
I think we should probably make a distinction between good people and permissive people. I think that would probably be a better way to, you know, be able to terminalize it. But, then again, I don't think that'll ever really catch on. But permissive people are what he's really talking about here. People who, everything is permitted that you can do.
Even when you maybe don't want to hear it. Now, there is a fine line because obviously
Yeah.
some people will tell you what they think you need to hear and they're wrong. It's hard to be
True.
right. It's hard to really get through to people and it's very hard to
And
not force your
the people who do tell you something that's wrong, I mean, it really depends on where it's coming from too. I would say I would make a wager that like 70% of the time, if they're a good friend of yours, they're giving you advice that is wrong, but from a good place, right? I'm leaving room for, the 30% of time. That probably is a very large margin, but I think it's large because I'm being very conservative with my estimates that they come from a place of malice, but I think due in part or due largely in part to the fact that people want to see the best of their friends, generally speaking, comes from a good place. So if you get bad advice from somebody, but they're being genuine about their bad advice, at least they're not trying to, hurt you. But yeah,
what you think on other people. However, do your research, really contemplate what it is that you're about to say to
yes,
somebody, and really try to put yourself in their shoes and make sure when you tell them what you think they
empathy
need to
is a
hear,
skill that
that it
nobody
really is
has.
coming from a place of truth and from a place of urgency. Hopefully that makes sense. It's very, very, very difficult. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
True.
Now, here's the other
Very
thing
true.
with mental illnesses, and I'm going to kind of get you guys to kind of understand where I'm coming from. Um, there's a lot of mental illnesses in this world.
Very true.
There is. There's many, many, many mental illnesses. There's
Yeah, we have a whole book
schizophrenia
about them.
where people hear voices, they see things. There's depression where
True.
people are very sad.
I agree in this instance with depression being categorized as a mental illness because I believe that he's talking about like clinical depression. Like just being depressed doesn't mean you're mentally ill, but being chronically depressed does mean that you have something not going on well in your brain and you should be seeking help for it.
For no particular reason. There's bipolar,
Yep.
where you get very angry, you get very happy, you get very sad, very, very, very quickly. There's gender dysphoria, where you think, oh, I'm this gender, or I'm this gender, or, furries. I'm a dog.
And there have been people fighting to get that removed from the DSM-5, and I believe that it is no longer in the DSM-5. I'm I am not qualified to make a comment medically speaking on whether or not it is or isn't a mental disability. But what I can say is there are a lot of comorbidities with it, with other mental disability or other mental diseases and mental problems. So, with that as a backdrop, I feel fairly confident in saying that if you have something in your mind that causes you to be disordered and you are also experiencing gender dysphoria, you should address the first problems of your mental disorders first and then pursue your gender dysphoria if it still persists and lingers.
Um, you're not a bad person if you tell someone to not listen to their mental illnesses.
True.
Now, I
You're
kind
in
of
fact that
struggle with this one
in fact that would actually make you a good person if you told somebody not to listen to the voices in their head.
because this one's kind of very touchy on the internet. But I have a big issue right now with, well, let me give an example.
Sure.
Let's say someone is schizophrenic.
Yes.
Are you a bad are you a good person? You say, "Yes, little Timmy, listen to the voices in your head. Trust me, they're telling you great things. I fucking kill. Man, they're watching you. They're watching you." Yes, all those voices in your head. They're right. I don't really think that's a good thing to say.
I'm going to agree with you. It would be a very bad thing to say, yes, they are right. That'd be very bad.
Bipolar. Someone's freaking the fuck out over nothing. No, you're absolutely, completely valid in your emotions. Me dropping that fucking piece of popcorn was completely justified for you to stab me in the fucking neck.
True.
No, you're not a good person. And
Not an
that's the thing
overreaction.
that I have a very hard time encouraging people to listen to the voices in their head that might lead them down to committing
I don't have a hard time with it. I literally just would never do it. Easy clap. Easiest easiest time of my life.
suicide on a coin flip. Yes, I find 42% suicidal thought rate pretty alarming. And I have a
That is
hard
pretty
time
alarming.
really feeling like I'm a good person by telling people,
So I think what he's talking about here is the rates of suicidality in people who have gender dysphoria, which is precipitously larger than the regular population, which again goes to my previous point that if you have other, cognitive impairments that are going unaddressed, those probably should be addressed first because they are what is actually causing you issues in your life. And then after you've dealt with those and you feel comfortable with where you're at with those mental problems, then you can pursue the rest of uh, what you would like to pursue.
yeah, you do that. It's just not really something that I really want to do. It worries me, and those numbers are staggering. I know a lot of people don't like talking about per capita, and people call that racist, but
People don't understand it.
I'm sorry, if something is more likely to happen at that staggering of a rate at this early on without as much research as we need, it doesn't really make me feel good encouraging that
Well, it
type of
almost feels
behavior.
like the
Now,
research
I
is
will be
discouraged
going
by a
out of
lot
my
of
way to
people.
absolutely shit on anybody who has committed to that behavior. Isn't really a great thing to do, however. It's not my position to really tell you what you can or cannot do. I'm just here to tell you what I do.
I think that you can take a position to tell people what they can and cannot do if you feel as if it's, morally justified, or if you feel as if your position on it is superior to theirs. Like, I think that you and I would both agree that we have a moral superiority in the position of not, murdering somebody. We can tell somebody, don't murder somebody, and we can do that. And I think that there are a lot of positions that you hold and that I hold and that everybody holds where you can take a moral stance and say that this is not good. Stop that. There's also a lot of stances that you have that you could be wrong on it. But I think that if you truly believe that what you're doing is in the benefit and in towards the greater goal of doing more good for most people, then you can take a mental or a moral stance on it, or a strong stance on it. And, tell people they can't do something.
It's scary how there's this kind of culture in today's world where whenever the new thing happens, you have to immediately support it. And if you don't, you're considered a racist, a
Kitty.
Nazi, a bigot, this phobe, that phobe. When in reality,
I mean, you're
people are just
totally right
trying to
about all of
figure out
this.
what it is that we're saying, why it is that we're saying it, and what's going to happen when we do say it. And people need to be more understanding of people on the fence, just like they want us to be more understanding of them jumping over.
Well, the worst the worst thing about this is, and the most truest thing about this is that people who are on the fence, who just kind of don't want to take a side and figure out where things lie, both sides hate them, or sorry, extreme sides hate them just on their face because they're not siding with them. They can't convince them enough to jump over to them. And traditionally and throughout history, anybody who's been kind of caught up in the middle of something have always been reviled by, either extremes. I don't think that's, new or even groundbreaking, but if you decidedly don't take a side in a matter, you are going to be considered even more of an enemy than the enemy side. And that's just something that you have to buy into when you're, a quote, a fence sitter, end quote. You will just always be hated by both sides, and completely disregarded. And, when it comes to if one side wins over another, heaven forbid, you will also be the ones that are persecuted more so than the enemy side. So just food for thought on that. Not saying that you have to take a side on literally everything, but the opt-in for not taking a side is, being a bigger villain than the enemy.
Over the fence. And I feel like that one way understandness is really unhealthy and
Mm-hmm.
honestly really not productive for our society.
I think it's unhealthy but natural.
And I really feel like something's got to give eventually. And I'm not
Something will
really sure
give.
what it is that's going to give. But yeah, we live in these worlds full of rainbows and butterflies, of sunshines. And well, it's not really that great now, is it?
I don't know if we live in a world full of rainbows, butterflies and sunshine. I think we live in a world that has a nice fresh coat of paint, new shrubs, so to speak, and we're mistaking that for what the real world is. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. And also, us in America are insulated from a lot of the woes of the rest of the world, which obviously doesn't help because we're a product of our environment, and our environment is a lot better than all of the other environments that exist out there. So that's another complicating and compounding factor.
A quote of a guy on Twitter who says, all of these people who seem so nice to you in content creation,
Yeah,
all of these people who are revered as the wholesome ones, when
right.
something horrific happens to you in your life,
They're not there.
all of those people will be gone.
Yep,
And the people who will then
because
be
they don't
there
care.
are all of the people who you've been warned about that are horrific human beings.
True.
And then you meet them and they're actually pretty chill. Now, that
A
was
lot of
said by
people
a
who are
grown
horrific are
man.
just regular
And I
humans.
think that that statement really rings true. It's very easy to be happy go lucky and accepting and supporting the current thing because that's what everybody wants you to do.
Yep,
They want this new thing to come out and they want you to blindly swallow it, whether that's the No Kings, every new gender identity movement, the fucking BLM
yep,
immediately accept the whole George Floyd as our martyr, and you can't question anything, you can't bring up any autopsies, you can't talk
yep.
about anything because
Any legitimate counterpoints or crap, what's the word? Criticism. Any legitimate criticism could be misconstrued in a way to, or not be, it will be misconstrued in a way to make you out to be the bad guy. And I really dislike that because we pretend to have an intellectual society where we can openly discuss pretty much anything, but we don't actually have an intellectual society. We have a bunch of idiots essentially running the whole racket who refuse to hear anything beyond what their narrow life view allows them to hear. And I think that's, obviously for the worst. And it really does kind of make me frustrated because you can never get through to people anymore.
if you do, you're a Nazi. And I'm sorry. I,
Oh
I
yeah, and another thing that really kind of irks me is words have no meaning anymore. Like he just said the N word, the big spooky N word, but like that doesn't, well, not that big spooky N word, but you know what I mean, the Nazi word. There so there isn't any meaning towards that word anymore. Like if you get called a Nazi, it's just like, oh hey, yeah, it's a Tuesday on the internet nowadays. You get called literally any type of pejorative and it just doesn't matter anymore, which I think is bad because, words used to have meaning. And when words don't have meaning anymore, then there's no more communicating, no more talking.
just want to let you know that these people that you're listening to, they're just looking you in the fucking face and they're lying to your ass. It is, and I mean this
Everybody will lie to
it
you.
is so, so fucking easy
Hell,
to be
everybody
the
lies to
good guy on the
themselves.
internet. It's so easy.
It
It's so
is.
easy to know what to say because you
Yep.
just go onto Twitter, you go onto trending, you see whatever posts have the most likes, and then you just shit that out of your mouth.
Yep.
It's not hard. You see the streamers that get the most viewers, and you say, "Wow, I really like that guy. They're so nice."
To live authentically and genuinely, you must come to your own conclusion yourself. You cannot outsource your thinking to somebody else. The way that I tend to look at stuff like this is I always focus inward first to see how I feel about something. And then I don't care what other people say about anything, afterwards. If I have an opinion on something and I think I'm right, I'll just say my opinion. I don't care what other people say.
And then you glaze them. People trying to make corrections to this world, people trying to right the wrongs of this world, they're the ones following the path of the most resistance because it's easy to go with the flow. It's
Yep.
easy to eat candy every day.
Yep.
But the problem is that sometimes you
Well,
have to
not for
tell
me. My
people
teeth
what
are
they
fucked
don't
up.
want to hear because you know that's what's going to lead to their betterment long term. Those uncomfortable talks are where people grow the most,
Hmm.
and going with the flow and letting everybody do what they want all the time is very dangerous. It is.
Well, it's not just dangerous like for you, it's dangerous for society and for themselves.
Um, it just is.
Yep.
And I think that people really need to start taking note of behaviors like this because
Yeah, I agree. They need to start being able to
the
say, like,
events
this is
that have been
wrong.
transpiring over the past several weeks of us witnessing in real time so many people looking to the camera and lying to you
Yep.
are the same people who say, I love everything, I love everybody, I'm supportive of the popular thing, I said the thing that you wanted me to say.
They're also the people that would piss on your grave if enough people on the internet told them to.
I'm sorry, guys. There are so many fucking liars in this world. It's insane.
Yep.
And the more I step back, and this is why I'm loving this little break that I'm doing, which fucking I've been done with this break since like 2 weeks. I'm good to go. I feel great.
Good
But
for
the
you.
more that I stay away, the more I can observe. Because when you exist in an environment, it's hard to be aware of everything. But
Yep.
when you can observe an environment, then you see everything. And I've seen so many people for who they are.
I think that you're correct in that where a lot of people get caught up in what's going on and they don't take a second to self-examine or self-reflect like their role in it or even the group dynamic and what the group's doing in general. I think that's an important skill to be able to have that most people don't have is while you're participating in something to be able to take a step out of it and examine it with eyes from a perspective that is, from without. And what I would really hope at the end of the day is when, with this particular situation, like on a whole, people would learn that it would be a good idea to take a second and try to think in terms of what another person who's not you would see.
I've seen so many people for what they do,
Hmm.
and
A lot of people
it's
tattle on themselves if you give them
mind
enough
opening.
time.
It's eye opening. But I can firmly say there's not a single person that I like that I'm not liked back by. Everybody I have in my life right now is exactly who I want to be in my life right now
True.
because I know these
That's
people.
pretty good.
I've had the opportunity to understand them. And the most important thing that I'm attempting to do right now is only have strong people in my life that aren't just going to bend the knee to whatever social media wants them to say.
Very
I'm
good.
sorry. If you are apologizing for merely talking to someone for a conversation, go fuck yourself. I think
Agreed.
everybody didn't want me to talk to Destiny. I don't care. I did that shit just to see if I had anybody that I would lose because I talked to him. Nobody. Nope. Fucking nobody. There is no way I'm
Imagine.
ever going to have a community full of fucking pussies that are going to police my behavior that much because, well, we heard a rumor about this guy. Go fuck yourself. It's a conversation. Same thing for anybody who ever apologizes because they merely talked to Asman. Eat a fucking dick.
Yeah, that entire situation really had me like on the inside dying. If you are a large content creator and you're talking to your peer who is also a large content creator, like at the end of the day, you're essentially coworkers in a way, and you're being told by your audience, oh my God, I cannot believe that you would talk to that person. You tell your audience to go fuck themselves. Like, I'm sorry, but they don't dictate who you talk to. And asking a coworker for who's probably dealt with the situation, what you're going for, or what's happening to you, for advice in an amicable and professional manner in no circumstances ever is wrong. And if you feel the need to apologize to your audience, you need a new audience. You need to stop doing what you're doing because you're cultivating such a such a toxic environment for yourself that you are going to be super unhappy down the line. If you can't be able to talk to certain people because people won't like you, then why would you do anything to begin with? Everybody's going to hate you anyway, or at least there's going to be somebody who hates you for something anyway.
Fucking loser ass pussy bitch insane. And you may think I'm just talking about Hassan's
It
girlfriend.
is.
No,
It's kind of
many,
like
many other
it,
people in this
it. It is loser. It is in essence like loser behavior, but then again, I think it's loser. Like I think it's behavior that people have because nobody really grew up past high school. And what a lot of people will find out as they are aging is high school never ended. People are still going to ask or act like it's high school pretty much every day. And you're going to meet about 50% of the people that you meet will be acting still as if it's high school. And it is so annoying. But the only way to wake these people up from that is by treating them like the adults that they are and then telling them you need to also be treating other people like adults as well.
the exact same thing. I'm not going to live in this world where I'm going to pretend people are bad because I heard rumors about them. I'm going to research people. I'm going to find out the truth of this whole controversy. I'm tired of being told that everybody's a neo Nazi.
That's
And
fair.
the things that I've said in this video are the same things that people would tell you.
The problem, Tectone, is that you will have to live in this world because that is reality. But approaching reality is a framework that you have, and I think that you're framing it in such a way that is probably more correct than incorrect. I like, in my opinion, to be able to say that the world happens regardless of who you are, and you cannot control other people. You can only control the way that you act towards other people and how you perceive other people. And I definitely think that it's going in the right direction if you're saying, I'm not going to trust everything that people say just on good faith and who they are. And doing my own independent research is more than fair. And if you think that people are hating on somebody unjustly and you think that there is an injustice in the world, it's more than fair for you to be able to say to express that. And if people say that they don't like you because of that, then fuck them. Who cares?
If you went to Walmart at 3 a.m., and I'm tired of pretending that they're not. We need to stop treating social media like this butterfly sprinkle rainbow magic world and get back to brass tacks, get back to our roots, and let's get back to reality, guys. Because
Well,
it's a shame how many people.
I think the problem is the internet is not reality, but people treat it as such, and the internet is rapidly trying to become reality. So we're kind of getting wrapped up in that.
Play pretend
We're
and
getting
tell
third
you
partied.
people are horrible just because they disagree with a couple of opinions they have. I have many friends that I agree with on a lot of things, and I have many friends that I disagree with a lot of things. And the reason why I have that is because one, they're good people, and two, that makes you more complete of a human being.
It is very true that you can be friends with somebody that you disagree with. And if somebody won't be friends with you because they disagree with you, then they're not worth being your friend in general. I have plenty of friends in my, in real life that I completely disagree with literally everything that they are and they embody, but they're still my friend because I don't really care about the disagreements so much as, whether or not at the end of the day we'll have each other's back.
Hope that makes sense. These videos are unscripted, they're very raw, they're off the fucking top, and I probably have dementia. I just don't know it yet.
I don't think so. At least I wouldn't think so.
Let me know what you think. My audience is growing with me, it's changing quite a lot, and your feedback in the comments is very much welcomed. There's a lot of
Hell
jokes
yeah,
in my
brother.
comments, which I appreciate, but even more so, I appreciate y'all's insight and I appreciate what y'all want to say because I like hearing y'all's perspective. Um,
Well, that makes
when
me
I
feel a
do
little better
generally
about
disagree with
reacting to
you
this.
on being a lot more complete of a human being and be a lot more, even more outspoken than I previously was, if you can even imagine that. Doing a lot of research, doing a lot of training, and I'm
I
doing
think
a lot
that's
of learning.
fair.
And I hope that.
In my opinion, it's hard to achieve becoming a complete human being because I think that's an unattainable goal. Like, just to get really down to meta here, I think that everybody already is a complete human being in a manner of speaking. It's just being brutally honest with yourself and being able to talk to yourself and figure out in what ways you are completed rather than becoming more completed. Because there are a lot of things that people, think in their subconscious mind that they don't necessarily consciously think about or they have an opinion of and they just kind of like, ooh, I know why, no, I have this opinion, but they don't know why they have that opinion. And it's more about coming down into yourself and asking yourself, why is that the case? And I think a lot of people would do much better with taking at least an hour out of their day every day to be like, I said this during the day, or I believe this during the day. Why is that? And do I still believe it? And does it still stand up to scrutiny after I, interrogate myself on the matter?
That shows. I really appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
don't let these people think that you're a bad person just because you have to give someone sour grapes. Bye bye.
Bye.
Hey guys,
Oops.
welcome back to
I think that was a good video. I really do think that the good people aren't good people is a fairly apt observation. I've always been, whenever anybody asks me, I've always told people, like, you really just can't trust anybody other than yourself to be a good person. The way that I always suggest, approaching new people is like cautiously open. I think that's probably the best and most healthy way to approach them is, be open to a point, and when they've shown to you that they too would like to be as open as they can with you, then you can open up a little bit more with them. But going back to the original topic, yes, people who expose that they're good typically are the worst people. And it's the people who say, yeah, I'm a bad person, I don't care, and are completely open with saying that, yeah, I'm a bad person, generally speaking, are the better types of people because they don't care very much on how they're viewed. They already have this image of themselves that they think other people have, so they feel like they've got nothing to lose. I don't know. I always found it, just like he's kind of always found it, that the people who are called the worst names in the book usually at the end of the day are not nearly as bad as they are, and in a lot of cases are qualitatively better than the people who say that they're good people. But yeah, that's all the thoughts that I had. So yeah, I hope you'll stick around, hope you'll subscribe and stuff like that. Definitely go watch Tectone's video. It's a good video. And yeah, see you around.